sit. Hold on. Make sure that you always make her wait. So you see how the leash is loose? She tried to jump the gun and run over there, and I just tapped her a little bit like that. But she's waiting for me to pat her chest and say, go to your mat, and walk over with her and say down. And then we start our little exercise here where she accepts the reward. Good, off the mat. And you can practice your little basic downstay where she accepts you walking around both ways. Anything she does on the mat, she does without the mat now, because she's been practicing this for a number of weeks now, and so I can get her to do good, a downstay off the mat as well. She's a little bit shy. She's having a little bit of a reaction to the camera person standing here, and you know how skittish she was when she first came in. So she still has those little things that maybe trigger her to be a little bit skittish and shy. Good girl, good. And this will be done in your apartment, because obviously you don't have a yard, but you're gonna do it the same way. In your apartment, you can drop the leash, walk away, come back, so you disappear into another room, come back, reward. Good. Go another direction behind her, disappear, come back, reward. And if she doesn't get up while I'm doing this with her, I will show you what to do if she does make a mistake. This is always a good little thing to practice. Down. I'm just reminding her what to keep doing while I pull on this leash. Good. Good. Every dog that comes here, when I start practicing a downstay and I apply some tension to the leash, they'll get up and come towards me. But after we practice a downstay for a while, they know they only leave one way, and that's when they're released. So, good. So she's really good at it now. You can even practice from different angles. And the whole message, of course, is that she only leaves one way, and that's when you release her in that very specific way. Therefore, good. This whole exercise is about her staying focused. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, she stays there because she's waiting to be released. And so she's not sleepwalking through this. She's actually focused, and it's actually several minutes of a downstay with distractions. And you can even work up to going outside your front door, coming back, things like that. It'll be different in your place. Good, because it's a different environment, although we practiced there several times already, and we will again when I deliver her. But still, it'll be different when I'm not there. But you can see how to do it. I'm gonna actually pretend that she made a mistake since she's not making mistakes with me. Okay, so I'm gonna release her to get up. Let's say that she just popped up. No matter whatever you did to make her pop up, and I'm playing your part, of course. She pops up, you say no, and you step into her. Okay. Reset her like that, and step on the leash. She's after a fly right now. She's very interested in insects, but we're still doing this exercise, so she has to focus on this. So she got up, I said no, step on the leash, put her back. Don't say D-O-W-N again, because I already said that when you send her to the mat. So if she makes a mistake, you say no, you reset her, apply a little pressure on the leash, put her back, and then continue the exercise. Good. And of course, if she left the mat and was somewhere else, you say no. You take the leash, you step into her, walk her back to the mat, do the same thing you saw me do, apply some pressure to the leash, she'll go back, and then continue the exercise. The way to release her from this mat is to go back next to her, pat your leg and say, okay. Lead her off the mat, walk her off the mat, have her sit when she's off the mat, and then release her from a calm sit stay. Go. And now she's free. Make sure that you always pick this mat up. It's not a doggy bed. It's not any place that she hangs out. You put it down there, you go get her wherever she is on a leash, you allow her to go on, you do the exercise, you allow her to come off, and then you pick it up, because she's not allowed to go onto it unless you allow her to go on that very specific way. You give her permission to go on, you give her permission to come off. It's a very exclusive spot for her to be on, and you control her access on and off this particular mat, or whatever mat you decide to do it on. So you use your doggy bed, if she has a doggy bed or a blanket that she hangs out on. That's a free time place, has nothing to do with training. This is the work mat, and you get a lot more out of her, and her downstay will continue to get better, and her ability to handle having distractions go on around her and staying calm, her ability to do that will increase over time if you really keep this an exclusive place where she only practices that one behavior on the mat and nothing else. No hanging out, no sleeping on it, no walking across it. Just makes this mat exercise more powerful if you do it that way. Okay. Sit. Good. So, good. You reward when she sits like that. You reward straight down like that. Good. Just like that. Eye contact and straight down. Try to avoid this where you go like this and she's eating out of your hand and looking down. If she pops up, you say no. And you just step into her, and with your body, see how I'm using my body? You reset her. And she'll most of the time reset herself, because we've done this so many times. Stay is built into sit, so you don't have to say stay. She knows that if you say SIT, that it means to stay there until she's released in a very specific way. And so you can practice your basic walking around both ways, sit, stay, wherever you are, curbs, different parts of your house, out in public, as long as it's a safe spot to do that. And we're in the middle of summer in LA now, so make sure that you do this if you're outside in the shade where the pavement isn't hot. It's just a great thing to practice throughout the day. You can just do like a little 20-second sit, stay. Every curb you go to, you have her sit, do your walk around, sit, stay, come back, continue on the walk. Make sure that you always do it the same way. You never repeat the command. If she doesn't sit the first time you tell her, don't repeat it. Just apply a little bit of pressure, and her butt will hit the ground. As soon as her butt touches the ground, you release it. So you're not popping, jerking, hanging. Just a very, okay, very continuous tension, just like this. Okay. Sit. But most of the time you won't have to do that, because she's got a pretty good sit and stay, actually. The way to release her, there's two ways actually. If you're going to continue walking with her and she's going to be in training mode, you stand back next to her, holding the leash coming out the back of your hand like this, so you have a little leverage. You can kind of tap her if you need to, and you just pat your leg and say, okay, and she'll walk with you. Okay. And then the other way to release her is sit. To release her to be free, you're done with some training, you're going to give her some free time. You just pat her chest with your right hand, and you're always, by the way, keeping this leash loose. As you can see throughout the video, I'm never restraining her, it's always loose. With your right hand, pat her chest and say, go, and she's free. And you might have to help her sometimes, like I just kind of helped her forward, because sometimes she might be nervous, depending on where you are, especially out in public. But now she's free, and she can have a little free time on your walk if that's what you're doing. Okay, let's go. Okay. When I practice the come command with her, I always do it the same way. Left hand leash, right hand reward. Got my little pouch of treats here. Pouch with big pockets, so you don't have to fumble in a little training pouch or unzip fanny packs or anything like that. Just a simple pouch is best. This one has two different pouches, one for general treats and one high value reward pouch, because She has problems sometimes with other dogs on the street and with distractions like doors opening, garage doors opening and closing, things like that. So you want to use the high value reward, like let's say it's chicken breast, for those instances, those big distractions. And then if you're just calling her back to come to you just away from I don't know, something she's sniffing on the ground or something, a lower value distraction, you just use your regular treat. In this case, we're using this, it's like a training sausage that's complete food, but it's a high value reward. It tastes better than her regular food. Go. So, come. That's what I'm using right now. Good. I always back away a little bit as well every time I call her to come to me, because when you back away, it draws her to you quicker, makes her more likely to run to you. And if you have more room, let's create another distraction. Come, and you back away, she'll actually really good run to you. Notice my left hand is free since the leash is around my wrist, and I can grab the leash or the collar, just so that we have her. Don't ever just have her come like this and don't secure her, because she'll learn, as most dogs do, that they can grab the treat and run off again. So make sure that she's really used to you having the leash, grabbing the leash like that when you do have her on the leash, or her collar, so that she's always used to that part of it too, because that's the most important part, really, just having her secured when she comes to you. Okay, so backing away is really important. Never repeating the command is really important. When we're practicing, we're always practicing the same way. We're practicing with a reward, because when we have to call her to us, maybe she's even off leash because she got out or the leash came off or collar broke or something like that, we still want it to work. So we're using this closed hand target, because in an emergency, she doesn't know that it's empty. So always call her to this closed hand, not to an open hand or whatever you're going to do. Just simple, just like a fist, because she thinks there's something in there, and you'll notice that, go, come, good. Everything happens at once, and you can even pet her. So it's the treat, the good, the pet, everything happens at once. The left hand grabbing the treat, or grabbing the collar, it all happens simultaneously. And she'll be used to that, practice that way, and then in an emergency, she's very likely to come running when you call her, when, you know, hopefully it never happens, but when she's off leash out in public. So I'm going to do a long distance recall. I'm going to toss this tree way across the yard and call her back to me. Go! She's way over there, still eating it. Come! Good. As long as you're in a fenced yard or somewhere secure, and in your house you could even do it, you can practice the long distance without a leash recall. Or you know, when you're out in public or at a park or something like that, just get a longer leash, 10 foot, 15, 20 foot long line, which is also, you can easily get that from your local pet store or online. But always do it that way, always back away, never repeat the command. That's the last thing I wanted to tell you about. Go. If she ignores your recall, tap it. Good. And she'll come, it's like a tap on the shoulder. She'll turn around, she'll see you backing away with your target hand, she'll run to you every time. Never repeat the command, because the pattern is that she hears it once and she does it the same way every time. The first time she hears it, same with the other commands. We never repeat anything, because it's all about establishing that pattern. She hears it once and she ends up doing it, therefore she starts to do it that way every single time, because you're not repeating yourself. If you repeat yourself, she'll never do it the first time you tell her, and over time she'll become desensitized to you saying it too much anyway, so it just won't work well. So never repeat the command, always back away when you practice calling her to come. Always have your target hand, make sure the food is in there, closed hand, and you have this video to always practice with. Okay. I want to show you how we take her in and out of the front door, and really any boundary is great to do this. You have her sit and then you step through first, front doors especially, but any boundary you can do this at, all your boundaries at first, especially for the first couple months she's back with you, really helps with her level of focus. You're stepping through because you're accentuating the fact that this is your boundary. She never follows you through she never follows you through, period. She never goes through, in or out, unless she goes with you. So if she waits for you to come back next to her, you say, okay, she walks with you. And I'm just going to turn around here and come out again to show you. We're going to have her sit because, we're going to have her sit because it's extra hard for the dog to stay in a sit stay when you open the door. So we practice that from day one. She has a couple little barking dogs right there too, which doesn't help. So she's sitting, I'm stepping out, she waits till I come back, I say, okay, she walks through. If she ever tries to pull you through, she stopped doing that with me, but okay, slow down at the threshold and just tap her a little bit, little taps. And then you might have to close the door yourself, so just do a little left turn, close the door, and okay, continue on. Okay, well, we have this person on the street here, sit, that we have corralled to do a little greeting routine with us. Notice that I walked her up to him. I don't have him approach us because that could make a dog feel threatened if somebody just approaches, walks right up to us, or the dog, or her. So we are gonna ask somebody to do the greeting routine with us, and then we walk up to them. And as you can see, I stepped away from her. I gave him the reward or the treat. And then all she has to do is go over and accept this treat from this new person. Go say hi, just like that. Get a treat, come. And he even petted her, good, which, sit. At this point, Calliope's done this a lot with different people out in public. So I think that it's okay if they try to pet her, but in general, I would say with a dog just greeting a new person, all they have to do is just give her a treat right there. That's just going to make her feel pretty good about them. Also, the way that you're introducing her is it's a very safe way for her because you're orchestrating the whole thing. You're sending her over, go say hi, or you could just say go. She sees something or somebody she's interested in. But we are out in public, so this is going to happen. Come. She goes over there, gets a treat from this person. I say come, and she gets a treat from me. Sit. It's just a fun little game in her mind, and we practiced it enough that she knows exactly how it goes. That's why meeting somebody in this situation is very familiar to her. And she just clicks right into it, and she knows anybody she meets this way has got to be okay because we've done this so many times already. So we've created this pattern of behavior that she knows when we're doing it this way, that person's got to be great, and she's fine with it. Go say hi one more time. And there's somebody with their dog and people over there, but you don't have to show it. Come. Calling her away. Good. And that's your greeting routine. Make sure that you always do it the way that we're doing it here. It's a real sit stay. She waits while you go and hand the person the little reward, treat. You come back to her. She's sitting and you say, go. Make sure that it's all about the details. Make sure you do it exactly the way we're doing it, and you will continue to have the results that we're having here. Come. Good, very good. We decided to practice in a place where there would be multiple distractions coming by constantly from all directions. And Calliope is a dog that was very triggered by, on her own street, in her own neighborhood, by, for example, a garage door opening, or a dog, a small dog. Occasionally she would get overstimulated and want to bark at a small dog or pull, or other things. So we have all kinds of things happening, lots of noises. That was Amtrak. It comes by here every few minutes. What we're doing is we're just showing you after the training how she is calmer in these situations. And really, this is a byproduct of practicing the down stays and sit stays, teaching her how to focus. You see these things that are passing by like this. Come. If she even turns towards it, turns away from me, I'm just going to call her away from a distraction. Come. Good. And it's, as you can see the cart here, all those carts that went past, and everything's going past. She's calm, and she's coming when I call her, and she's getting a little treat, which is keeping her calm. But the worst thing to do in any situation where she's overstimulated would be, do it again, would be to show the little dog there, and show Calliope. Well, I didn't even say come. She turned away from little dog, but oh, you can see us both in the shot here. That dog's barking at Calliope. Come. So obviously, good. She's different here than she was when she first got here. Different here now. And she's able to handle a lot of distractions she couldn't handle before. What I was going to say before was that the worst thing to do is to choke up on this leash, to restrain, to not notice that you are doing this, because this causes a lot of stress in any dog, and certainly in her. And also, so keeping the leash loose, and also practicing your recall, come, away from anything that she's staring at or anything that's a potential distraction. Whatever those things were that before you brought her to me that made her overstimulated, that made her excited, made her bark, made her pull towards them, whatever it was. If she stares, good. Draw her away with your come command and do exactly what you see me doing here. You're not going to be in a situation this intense, because you're just going to be walking her in your neighborhood and dealing with those little distractions. But you see what she is capable of now because of all of our practicing, and because she can handle all this stuff. She can certainly handle the occasional opening or closing garage door and the occasional dog that you see on your street. Okay. Sit. Just practicing a basic sit stay out here where there's a lot going on. And I do this with her all the time. We'll just go somewhere out in public, and I'll just call her to come to me out of the blue, and I will practice a little sit stay like that. Good. See how I'm rewarding her? Straight down, eye contact, straight down. And she's, actually there's a car passing by, so. Saturday afternoon at Home Depot is the busiest time. Through all these distractions, you can see she's staying calm. Sit. We were finishing a sit stay, and I had gone back over to her, and I had offered her a reward. Look up here. Of course, she's easily distracted by all these things going on, but she got her reward now, and I'm going to pat her chest and say, go. And now she's free. And that's what I've been practicing. Just randomly, when I take her out, I'll always practice our basic obedience stuff just in different spots, because the more different spots you practice in, as long as she can handle it, and she can handle a lot now, but if you practice in a bunch of different locations, she'll get way better, because over time she generalizes better and realizes that she's going to be doing these things anytime, any place, anywhere. Okay. Now we're inside the store. We're practicing a little downstay, and this is a lot for her to handle. I realize that, so I'm not going to try to get her to stay here for very long. But because of her previous problems of being very skittish and having a problem with distractions, it's a good thing to practice. Good. Just take her somewhere, get some space between you and the distractions, although there's not a lot of space here, so she's doing really well. And could you just pan around maybe that way, go to your left, and then back again just to show everything that's going on here, back to me, show everybody that's passing by, and I'm going to give her one more no. If she pops up, just say no, and kind of put a little tension on the leash so she goes back. See how people are walking right past us like that? You always want to end on a success. Good. And then we're going to release her. Okay. Sit. And then we'll release her to be free. Go. Good job. Good job.